tonight on the Chillstream. I made it through another St. Patrick's Day without getting killed by a drunken leprechaun. Bitcoin crashes to $66,000. And I think Elon Musk is on drugs. See you guys in 2 minutes. All right, we are live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the show. We already have somebody in the chat, Eagle Pax, Sigil. Hello, Jimmy. Hello, Eagle Pax. It's the second week in a row you are here. So it is Monday, March 18th, 2024. And like I said in the intro, I managed to avoid getting killed by a drunken leprechaun on St. Patrick's Day, which is good. You know, I've successfully dodged those tiny green assassins, for more than 57 years now, and it's one of my proudest accomplishments is that I avoid that like the plague. However, there are bigger issues than my petty little fears and annoyances. So, and I'm trying to think of where we're going to go with all this, or where we're going to start, because there's so much. Last week I showed this news article. It says AI industry aims to revive nuclear power to fuel itself. And I said that nuclear power, which in the 1930s opened up the promise of freeing every human being from drudgery ever, with unlimited amount of power, because most nuclear power plants only run at like 10% capacity. They if they ran at full capacity, there would be no place for all the electricity to go. They would melt the fucking wires. But AI and the future that they're creating from AI is going to require a really lot of juice. How much juice? A lot. This is our old friend Jeff Bezos, and it says, "What does Amazon want with nuclear?" Wait, huh? What? Amazon.com. Yes, Jeff Bezos bought a nuclear power plant, or Amazon.com did, bought a nuclear power plant in northern Pennsylvania along the Susquehanna River. The power plant is capable of producing, I want to say something like 2,500 gigawatts per month or something like that. And they expect that the Amazon data center that they're building right near there will use like 960 gigawatts of power every month. So this nuclear power plant that's been up there for years, nobody was interested in. All of a sudden, because AI requires way more juice than anyone can imagine, Amazon's like, boom, buy me some nuclear power plants. So you're going to see nuclear this and nuclear that. Nuclear comes back. Oh no, it's safe this time. Blah 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 blah. And I was going to show these a couple of articles that I see pop up in my feed, but you could Google them. There's one that's like, why are the wolves in Chernobyl cancer resistant? Right, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant disaster from the 1980s. You know, there's wolves apparently running around in that area, and none of them have cancer, and they can't figure it out. And the reason why is because most of what you know about nuclear power is wrong. It's wildly unscientific and crazy propaganda. Now, mind you, it's dangerous. Everything's dangerous. A coal fire is dangerous. You know what I mean? Steam is dangerous if it's not handled correctly. And so nuclear is dangerous as well. But we pretty much had this down by the late 1930s. There's a YouTube video called "What Happened to the Plutonium Economy" by a man named Galen Windsor. That is a very good, very good documentary, because this was a very real guy who ended up working for the Department of Energy and was an absolute heretic about all the fear mongering, 3 Mile Island, China syndrome, all these nuclear end of the world things that they portrayed back in the day. Certainly when I was growing up. So, and even like in New York City, up about 75 miles north of New York was the Indian Point nuclear power plant. They shut it down in 2021. I can almost guarantee you they will reopen it soon, because they're going to want a data center somewhere along that river. Be a good idea to buy some property around there, because right now it's probably dirt cheap, because everyone's afraid I'm going to grow a third eye in the middle of my forehead. That's never going to happen. The dangers of nuclear power is you get burned. You know what I mean? Like sunburn, except it goes all the way down to your bones. You know what I mean? It goes cooks your organs. That's the real danger. That's why the wolves at Chernobyl don't have cancer. That's why the Fukushima nuclear power plant that had the meltdown, they're like, oh my God, all the water's going to go, the sea water's going to go in there, and then the fish are going to be radioactive, and then they're going to sell those fish to fucking the Los Angeles fish market, and your kid's going to eat nuclear fish sticks for fucking lunch or something like that. Like all that hysterical shit, and none of it ever happened. In the immediate flash of nuclear reaction, if you're not behind something, you're going to get burned to death very quickly, and you'll die within weeks, days even. You know, probably less than a week. But it's not nearly as dangerous as they've made it out to be. It's been wildly unprofitable because they can't run it at full power. They haven't been able to, for 100 different reasons, because people who don't want you to be free don't want unlimited electricity, unlimited power. But now they found a way to use nuclear power not to free humanity, but to enslave humanity. And guess what? That's exactly what they're going to fucking do. So you know, just understand that's coming. And you know, between AI, which is going to replace white collar jobs, they think it's going to, like, you know, I said this last week. They think that my job, or some shitty fucking job like filling the potholes or fucking cleaning toilets or even flipping burgers, you think you're going to get robots to do that and AI to do that? Man, we are so far from that, it's unfucking real. But a lot of white collar jobs are just going to vanish. You know what I mean? JP Morgan got rid of 90% of whatever department, you know, they were using when they shifted to AI. So Wall Street sees more money in it. AI is going to do to the economy, finish doing to the economy what COVID started. Right? Here's Jerome Powell, J Powell. You remember my man J Powell? Where's J Powell?
We print it digitally, so
yes, that J Powell. J-Pal's got a little bit more to say in this clip where he talks about the changing economy.
For an economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing?
Okay, so that's J-Pow and some Chinese guy. I don't know who the Chinese guy is. Federico Vasconcelos. Hola, sir. Welcome back to the show. So they think they're going to replace truck drivers and hamburger flippers. And of course, these rich guys, listen, they were born with access to resources, and they live life on fucking easy mode, and they think they're geniuses for it. They really think like being born into a good family and you're being set up for success by your family is an accomplishment. Where literally, these people are born on third base and they act like they're the only one who ever hit a home run. So they look down on anyone else. They're like, well, why are you so dumb? Why do you have to drive a truck? Well, why did you lose all your money? Or how come you live in a trailer or whatever? And they really think that they're superior, and they're really not. They absolutely are not, and many of them will lose their jobs to AI. It won't be the truck drivers, because somebody's got to bring that. I've said this before. The food you eat gets to where you buy it in a fucking truck, right? Or even if you go to a restaurant every night, that restaurant guy has a little van or something like that he sends to the produce market, he sends to the fish market, and he sends to the whatever restaurant depot, to get all the shit and all of that stuff that gets to restaurant depot from trucks. And if nobody drives the trucks, you starve to death. And that is something these guys don't really understand. Most of them, it's really amazing how most of these guys don't even understand their own fucking business. They literally don't understand the businesses that they're in. But they will. They will have plenty of time soon to learn about that, because things are going to change, and a bunch of them are going to get caught up in it. A bunch of them are absolutely going to get caught up in it, and they're going to move. They're going to move much further down the ladder than they thought. They fear things they don't understand, and they don't understand anything that isn't spoon-fed to them and super easy. Here's something I had from last week. That shows Wall Street still doesn't get it. JP Morgan, Bitcoin's surge could raise concerns at the Fed, and rate cuts might be delayed. So this fake magic internet money that doesn't matter and doesn't count could somehow stop the Federal Reserve from cutting rates or something like that. You know what I mean? That there's going to be no rate cuts because of Bitcoin. Bitcoin now controls whether the Fed cuts rates or raises rates or whatever. That's how powerful they think it is. They don't understand it. They don't control it, and so it's a giant boogeyman for them. But this is the real reason. Right here, Janet Yellen says she regrets saying that inflation was transitory. Apparently, the February inflation number came in at 3.2%. I don't know what number they were expecting, but they were expecting 2 something and they got 3 something, and now they're saying no, we're not going to cut rates until later in the year, which means they're going to cut rates right before the election so that Biden beats Trump. And not that it fucking matters, but the current occupant of the White House will stay there. Why? Because they have the power of the money printer. Here's what they're doing. Biden unveils $7.3 trillion election year budget. That's not for the next 4 years. That's just this year. So I think we take like 3 trillion or 3.5 trillion in taxes. So he's going to just print another 3.5 trillion and hand it out to everybody. And he's going to buy all the votes he needs to buy. However, and I mentioned this last week, there's some, down in the depths of this, down in the, below the Olympian perspective of the White House, there are people in government who have, they're not happy with the changes that are coming, and we're going to talk about social unrest. Here is the recipe for social unrest.
Now, I've said this before. If you give me 3 meals, housing, child care, education, a voucher for $9,000, you know what? I come to Chicago too. And that's what they're doing. They're telling people, and they're sending money back to back to Venezuela, to come to Chicago because they're saying, hey, the good times are rolling there. They're taking care of everybody. Now, when we have Venezuelans that are driving cars, where did they get a driver's license? Where did they get insurance from? And then you have Venezuelans being caught with drugs and guns. Where are they getting them from?
Can you, like, the lack of self-awareness is stunning. Listen, Sambo, how did you get off the plantation? Like, well, the Great Migration North, right? Which they did as well. That filled the cities of Chicago and Milwaukee and New York, etc. Why did you leave the South? Why did you leave the Southern plantation? You know what I mean? Because you was getting free shit, jobs, all sorts of personal liberties that you would not get away with in the South. You would definitely get away with in the North. And now it's being done to you. So the black people are angry at the brown people, and they're going to start killing each other. They're already really doing it, but it's going to intensify and intensify. But we're living in a time where it's impossible for people to have a good general understanding of things. Everyone is so locked in to their own little worldview. It's really tough to see the bigger picture. And if you can't do that, then you can't figure out what to do with your life. You cannot figure out what you need to do, and everything will seem like a good idea until it falls on its face, and then you'll be at a loss again. But the political class, they always manage to fucking. I always manage to regret something I said 2 months ago or 3 months ago. RFK Jr., remember I said, hey, listen, this guy, he talks the talk, but he doesn't walk the walk. He talks about Bitcoin, but he doesn't buy. He doesn't own any Bitcoin. And then he buys 2 Bitcoins each for his children. He bought like 6 Bitcoins. He has 3 kids, bought them all 2 Bitcoins. Well, RFK, he knows he's not getting the White House, and he probably never intended to. It's all a fucking hustle. It's all a fucking hustle. It's all a fucking hustle. Here he is right here, RFK Jr. Shaitoshi Kusama highlights RFK Jr.'s endorsing Shiba Inu, which is a shitcoin. SHIB price up 23%. So RFK Jr. buys Bitcoin for his children because he wants them to maintain their elite status. Tells you to buy shitcoins. Don't look at what they say. Look at what they do. Don't look at what they say. Look at what they do. And to continue in this vein, various different people have noticed that that where we are is here, right? That we are in the looting the treasury phase. Now, the treasury has always been looted since the money printer's been running. But these people, like the title of this show, the philosophy of cancer cells. The philosophy of cancer cells is just to keep growing, eating, and getting bigger and more for them, and consume more tissue and consume more healthy cells and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And cancer can't moderate. Cancer can't go, hey, if I keep growing at this rate, this host is going to fucking die. Cancer just has to have more, 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 more. And the people looting the treasury are exactly the same way. More, 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 more for me, more for me, more for me. And they don't care where it comes from or what's going to happen. So AI is going to pump up my stock price. Good for me. I want another yacht. I want another mansion, another private jet. If it means that the government has to pay out UBI to everyone, that's fine. We'll go with UBI. That'll be great. Make everyone drive an electric car if they're allowed to have a car, because we're more and more moving towards the techno Soviet Union, the Gulag system. Remember, in Soviet Russia, you needed a passport to travel within your own fucking state. So we just move ever closer to this, and there's only one way you're going to stop it, is by opting out of the system. But it takes a lot, and it takes a lot personally, and it's hard for people to do. But there are people at all levels of government who understand that there's something they don't control, and they that they know is going to be extremely valuable. So just a screenshot from that YouTube channel, Simply Bitcoin. White House expects $6 million Bitcoin. Interesting that they chose 6 million as a number, but you go and look at the video. I didn't look at the whole thing, but the White House did a study of energy usage because they're aware of the electricity demand going up. And it mentioned Bitcoin mining, and they said, and the government's own estimates, Biden White House's estimates, that in the next 18 months, Bitcoin's going to go to 250K, and that in the next 10 years, crypto mining will increase by 1,000% within the United States. They said crypto mining, but it really means Bitcoin, because shitcoins, I could run shitcoins off this fucking phone probably. But the electricity demand for Bitcoin mining, which, by the way, we're 31 days away from the halving. 31 days from today, no matter what you do, you will only be able to get 450 Bitcoins a day, and that's going to make a difference. That's going to make a real difference. But they expect 10x mining activity, the White House, in the next 10 years. So that puts Bitcoins at 66,000 now. That gives us $6 million Bitcoin. You know what I mean? And that's the White House estimate. Are they correct? They're probably not correct. But the point is, literally everyone's thinking this way. You kind of have to read between the lines a little bit. But this is the way things are going to go. And the thing that we try to get across to people who are Bitcoin evangelists, I suppose, like myself, is that you can't ban Bitcoin, but you can ban yourself from Bitcoin. You can just go, I'm not going to fuck with that. All right, have fun staying poor. This is Sweden's central bank chief wants as little Bitcoin as possible in the country's financial system. So the fucking squarehead Swedes, they've decided, I don't know, they're going to go with the gefilte fish economy, or the, what do they have? What do they have? There's something, I don't know, they have in Sweden. They have nothing in Sweden. So you want to ban yourself from Bitcoin? Rock on, bro. Rock the fuck on. That is an incredibly dumb thing. You have to think ahead. You have to think of the future. And I got a video here. It's at 1 minute and 30 seconds. And it's from the Wayback Machine. And when you look at it, you're going to go, oh, why didn't I, or someone's going to, why was I 5 years old in 2010? I shouldn't have been 9 years old. I should have been buying Bitcoin. But this shows you how how radically things can change in 14 years.
In this video, I'll show you how to buy Bitcoins using PayPal, using the CoinPal service. First, go to coinpal.endrix.com and you'll be presented with this order form. In order to make a purchase, you have to have a verified PayPal account. So I'll enter my verified PayPal email address in the form. And then I'll confirm my email address by entering it again. I want to buy 10 Bitcoins, and I'll enter my Bitcoin receiving address there. I click continue. It presents me with the details of my order. So the exchange rate right now is 30 cents for 10 Bitcoins. That's the purchase price. PayPal is going to charge 39 cents in fees, so those are passed through to you. Then a convenience fee for using the service, the grand total, and the effective exchange rate for this purchase. That all looks good to me. I'll click continue. Now it tells me that they sent me an email, so I'll go look on my email. There it is. And there's this link here. For the sake of the demo, I'm going to copy and paste my confirmation link back to my other screen here. So I confirm my email. It shows me the details, 10 Bitcoins for $3.48. Yeah, that's right. That's what I agreed to before. Click buy.
Yeah, 10 Bitcoin, $3.48. 10 Bitcoin today, $660,000. So I show that in these videos like this, not for you to go, oh my God, I should have been, but to try to think forward 10 years, try to think forward 15 years. If $66,000 Bitcoin looks expensive, imagine 15 years from now. And it's very hard to get people to think that way. They just look at that number like 66,000. I don't have 66,000. Oh my God, I would have paid not $350 for 10 Bitcoins. I would have paid $35. The thing is, you wouldn't have. You have to get yourself over the fear of leaving the fiat system. And you have to understand that what's being built is two separate things. You're going to have the AI world of Jeff Bezos, of digital slavery, and then you're going to have what we're building. Okay, and it's what we're building is something a lot like Manhattan, but it's a digital Manhattan. I gotta who's this? This is Natalie Brunell, probably the best looking woman in Bitcoin, and a real live 100% woman, not like that Len Olden creature. Having a chat with a guy named Lawrence Lepard. Lawrence doing a little bit of what I just told you, like, oh my God, if back then I would have known what I know today. That's a useless, pointless, frustrating way to think. You have to think, you have to learn the lesson of that and then go forward. So here's 51 seconds with Natalie and Lawrence.
Michael Saylor's brought up the idea of selling the winner to buy the loser. Can you talk a little bit about that in your experience?
It's a mistake that a lot of investors make, I think, and that is to say you've got a gain and you're feeling good about it and you think, oh, this can't last and maybe it's overpriced now and therefore I'll sell it. I bought Microsoft in '86 when it went public, 14 times trailing, growing 40% a year. And I made, I don't know, 3 times my money on it. And I sold it for a logical reason, actually, because it was the only money I had to make a down payment on a condominium, and I wanted to own a condominium. So, but had I held on to it, it turned out it went up another 4,000x, and I missed all of that. Wow. Buying, Bitcoin right here is buying Microsoft in its first 5 or 10 years of existence. It's like Manhattan real estate, as he said. You don't want to sell a cornerstone asset that can't be replicated.
It's prime real estate in cyberspace, but it's like digital Manhattan.
Yeah, so that's a sailor concept. Digital Manhattan, but not Manhattan today, not the 2024 Manhattan, but the 1824 Manhattan. If you could get in a time machine and go back to your great-grandfather's day, right, and it's 1824, how much of Manhattan Island would you buy? How much real estate would you buy in Manhattan? Any fucking way. Below 96th Street, below 42nd Street, like anywhere. Anything you bought, right? Knowing what you know today, would be worth a gazillion dollars. It would be worth all kinds of fucking money. All right. And you would never have to work. Your children would never have to work. Your grandchildren would never, ever have to work, because you would have you would have something that no one else really has, and it would stay valuable for realistically beyond your lifetime. So we got to do a meme. We're 30 minutes into it. Let's they did a mashup or a meme. I'm going to do the silly, the sarcastic one first, and then it's a sailor thing, and then we'll do the serious bit. But this is you know, when they try to do the gotcha thing to Sailor on TV, I admire how cool this guy stays. But here's the meme.
But like most of the people who are buying assets at some point want to sell the assets at a profit.
People that use fiat currency as a store of value, we call them poor. We call them poor. People that use fiat currency, we call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. We call them poor. There's a name for them. We call them poor. We call them poor. Okay?
So, you know, that's a good mashup. When I said, you know, what I mentioned, that we have all the meme power, we have all the initiative, we have everything going for us. The smart, creative, funny people, we have them, and nobody else has them. So the next clip I have, this is a 90-second clip. That's a serious bit of that same interview of this woman trying to do, like, kind of doing a gotcha kind of thing, you know, basically trying to convince or get Michael Saylor to say he's selling his Bitcoin. It's a really instructive little bit of video.
Yes, sure, some people pass it on to their children, but like most of the people who are buying assets at some point want to sell the assets at a profit. So let me say it a different way. Okay.
People that use fiat currency as a store of value, there's a name for them. We call them poor. Okay. Anybody that's rich in the world, they own property. They own large swathes of land. The royal family of England, it didn't sell all of its property in central London in order to buy currency or paper money, nor did the royal family of Japan, nor did the royal family in the Middle East. In fact, they want to own the property forever. I want you to imagine Bitcoin it's a city in cyberspace that's 276 blocks wide, 276 blocks high, 276 blocks deep, about 21 million blocks. Now imagine all 8 billion people in the world want to live there one day. They want to put their capital there. There's $900 trillion of wealth in the world. As people migrate from every other form of property and they've assets into cyberspace, you're going to see the Bitcoin network go from $1 trillion network to a 10x that to 100x that. And there really is nowhere else to go. It is the apex property of the human race.
The apex property of the human race, and he's right. So that's a longer, more serious answer, right? And there's a ton of people that are constantly after Saylor. The anti-Bitcoin people are hilariously bad at their job, and I guess they're accustomed to pushing people around on media or whatever, shaming people, to prove to us you're not a racist. The virtue signal that you're not, an anti-Semite, virtue signal this and that. And people are like, oh God, I don't want to be seen on TV as, the bad thing or a bad person. So they just go along with whatever fucking narrative there is. Here's another guy, another 59 second clip, again explaining what the value of this thing is. It's hard, and the reason why I show Saylor, and Saylor's a very smart guy, very evangelical, and he frames everything in terms of investments in wealth and stuff like that. And it's important to think of that because, you know, the alternative to wealth is poverty. And it's not noble to be poor. Like, you're not, you know, when Hitler gets reincarnated and he comes and he knocks on your door and he's got like two suitcases full of Hitler bucks that he's going to give you just because he loves you, because you're a nice guy. You know, he's going to say, oh, you really suffered all that time under hyperinflation. You know, you could have bought Bitcoin, but no, you didn't do it. But Adolf, you know, Adolf, the reincarnated Adolf Hitler, I really appreciate that. You know, what you did, your suffering, it shows how noble you are. So here's 2 suitcases full of money. That's not going to fucking happen, right? No matter who you think is going to come to rescue you, or no matter what you think the future is going to look like, no one's going to reward you, right, for your perceived suffering, especially when you could avoid it really fucking easily. Framing things the correct way is important to understanding them. And this is a good way to understand one aspect of Bitcoin.
Does it ever have to be a currency, or do you think it ever becomes a quote unquote currency?
It doesn't have to be a currency. You know, nobody's trying to buy a cup of coffee with a fraction of their building on Fifth Avenue, right? But every rich person I know owns property in London or New York City or somewhere, and none of them complain about not being able to spend their building as a medium of exchange. So the killer application is capital preservation for everybody. The store of value is the killer use case. Medium of exchange is a distraction. Governments are always going to issue currency. They're always going to make it legal tender, and that's just fine. Bitcoin's competing with gold. It's going to eat it. And then it's competing with risk assets as a long-term hold, and it's competing with you buying an Airbnb as a retirement income source if you're a middle-class person.
So there you go. Do you need to exchange it back and forth? No, you don't. For people who own property on Fifth Avenue, they don't take one brick out of the building and go pay for their dinner with it, right? You need to rethink how you understand what's valuable in this world, and that is super tough. That is incredibly super tough. And then you have people. I showed this chick before, Whitney Webb, who's supposedly Gary Webb's daughter. The Gary Webb, the guy who did the CIA's running crack into America story and was supposedly killed by nefarious forces. I don't know if that happened or it didn't happen, or I have no idea how this guy died. I don't even know if this chick is blood related to him. But I was on the fence about her. She would occasionally say stuff I liked, and then I'm like, yeah, but you have to understand, this is a young woman who lives outside the United States with no visible means of support, and she writes all these books. CIA bad, government bad, NSA spy this. She has all sorts of inside information, even though I think she's living in Chile. That's what I heard, or I read that somewhere on the internet. But she's living in Chile, which has just had a communist revolution. She doesn't seem concerned about it. She's got a kid with somebody. She has at least one baby. And again, money doesn't seem to be an issue for her. She lives internationally and writes these CIA tell-all books, which nobody fucking buy. I don't know who's buying them because nobody reads books anymore at all. And she's really, I got 2 clips of her. She's really fucking condescending in both of these clips. And it really gets under my fucking skin. So at this point, I'm saying, listen, this Web chick is a fucking spook. She's in with the alphabets, because I don't think anyone could be this dumb.
I think a lot of people can get kind of googly eyed thinking like, oh, wow, what if Bitcoin goes above $200,000? Like, and all of this stuff. Like, okay, well, it's great that you might have a higher net worth, but in a lot of the cases where like Bitcoin would be projected to reach astronomical sums, that means like the dollar and like other currencies widely in use become like insanely devalued. So like, okay, if a loaf of bread is worth like $300 because like helicopter money in the US has happened and it's like hyperinflation, and you have Bitcoin, it looks like you have a lot of money in your account, but in terms of purchasing power, like you basically have the same lifestyle you have now, but everyone else around you is dirt poor and has nothing. Like, is that a scenario to be like cheered on? I don't think so.
Really, Whitney? How much money do you fucking hand out every week? Show us where you live. Show us the neighborhood in Chile where you live. You know what I mean? Oh, you have a higher net worth, but everyone else is dirt poor. See, it's noble to be poor, right? You should get rid of that Bitcoin so you can be a noble, impoverished person and fight with the blacks and the Venezuelans over fucking a UBI check. And when I tell you, I said you're gonna be in a fight for your life over the last fucking packet of ramen noodles. I'm not fucking joking. That scenario is much more likely. And Whitney not understanding any fucking thing. Well, if Bitcoin goes to 200,000, that means a loaf of bread will be $300. That's bullshit. 15 years ago, Bitcoin was 30 cents. How much was a loaf of bread 15 years ago? Like $1.50? Today it's $4. You know what I mean? Think about the price of bread in 2010. It was not a nickel for a loaf of bread, and today it's $5. Right? You might pay. I'm trying to think what I pay. I pay like $4 for a loaf of bread. So Bitcoin was 30 cents, and now it's $66,000, and the price of bread didn't skyrocket. Okay, so Bitcoin could go to 200K or 250K or whatever number, and I don't know what fucking number it could go to in the next 5 or 10 years. But that doesn't mean a loaf of bread is going to be $300. It just that's correlation is not. There isn't even correlation there. Eagle Pack Sigil. Yes, food is expensive now, relatively expensive. Yes, it is more expensive, and it's not going to get a whole lot cheaper, but it's not the move right now. $66,000 Bitcoin to $200,000 Bitcoin is a lot smaller than 30 cents Bitcoin to $66,000 Bitcoin. Do you understand? Like, I don't know how many percentage points that is to go from 30 cents to $66,000. Somebody who's good at math can do that. That's whatever, 10 million fucking percent. But the price of bread didn't go up 10 million percent. It's not how it works. And it bothers me that this chick, she's like Alex Jones and all of these. Oh, I'm the renegade truth teller. I'm the one. I'm on the edge. I'm fucking. I'm unafraid to say blah 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 blah. You know what? I don't believe. Two things this chick says, and like I say, I really think she's in with the alphabets people because she does this bit right here.
Are you going to fight to keep Bitcoin a tool for financial freedom for everybody and to keep it being like ideal money as a hedge against central bank and commercial bank malfeasance? Or are you going to let those same central and commercial banks use it for their ends and incorporate it into their system of complete financial control? I think it's very easy to choose what side to be on there. But some people, again, are like, ooh, the prospect of being a millionaire sounds great. But like, if, maintain the lifestyle you have now in a hyperinflation scenario costs $1 million, I mean, that's not great either. And if all your transactions are surveillable and all of the stuff, I mean, maybe you have more money, but like, the system they're trying to like usher in, commit a thought crime, and the DOJ will just come and seize all your Bitcoin like they do to tons of people. I mean, there's certain stuff we have to stand against, or it gets bad for everybody. It doesn't matter how much Bitcoin you hold.
Oh, look, a call for unity. We have to stand. Are you going to let BlackRock buy all that Bitcoin? Well, what are you going to fucking do? What are you going to do if a free, permissionless, open monetary network is going to be a free, permissionless, open monetary network? that means everybody gets to participate. Oh, but what if BlackRock buys all of it? Well, one, they can't do that because 93% is already out there. And the DOJ kicking in your door, really? That's not, she's so, like they've done to so many people. They've done that to a couple of people who are criminals, and they just got lucky. Like I showed last week, the Bitfinex hackers, and they're going to make a movie about them. Hackers didn't fucking hack anything. They use the same fucking password for their Uber Eats. Their Uber Eats password was the same password they use for every fucking thing. And once the FBI got that password, they got everything. It's a lot less, cyber crime, dramatic fucking thing than they make it out to be. And as for kicking in fucking doors, they're not kicking in doors of these fucking dorks. It's a bunch of fat, balding FBI people grabbing some marshmallow soft fucking cyber geeks, But Whitney wants to peddle fear, and she wants to peddle, the nobility of fucking poverty, and she wants to say, what the fuck she's saying in that clip? Are you going to let Bitcoin do the BlackRock do this? Are you going to let the central banks do that? What the fuck? What do you like? Hey, kid, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do while you sit safe outside the country, outside the reach of the Department of Justice? Peddling the type of fait accompli reasoning, right? Which gets people frustrated and encourages them to do dumb stuff. So that's why I'm like, listen, this chick is a fucking spook. You're never going to convince me otherwise, because I don't think anyone can be that dumb. And I particularly resent the way she presents all of her reasoning as a done fucking deal, and you can't argue with it. I would love to have an argument with her, but the federal government doesn't allow you to argue with their employees. And even our friend Elon, there was a guy, a black dude, Don Lemon. He's like a gay black guy. Did an interview with Elon and was going to be on Twitter or something, Twitter TV. And then Elon got pissed because he didn't like the interview, and he fired the guy. Well, you know what? I don't know if Elon's back on the crack or the ketamine or what he's doing, but this is what he's talking. He was just talking about this, and I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe this motherfucker's high.
Hi, everyone. I'm Elon Musk. Tesla, very, very good. I want to drive Tesla to Mars. Crypto coin, Elon. Drive, help me do that. Wow. Truck, very Instagram. Truck. And come to Mars with me. Wow! I love you. Wow!
So Elon wants to drive his Tesla car all the way to Mars. That's pretty fucking amazing. I'm not sure you could do that. He seems to be a little fucking stoned out of his mind. I mean, maybe that ketamine and the LSD and the mushrooms and, I don't know. Because I don't think you could take a Tesla car to Mars, because you know me, I'm one of those kooks. I saw this in my feed and I realized, wow, maybe Elon should have a chat with this guy right here.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
When you said that just now, did it sound stupid to you?
Kind of.
So that's from it's a documentary called "Was It Only a Paper Moon?" And I guess that's an actual NASA guy, for real, that they interviewed in the Johnson Space Center. And we lost the technology. We lost the 1960s technology. We lost that. And it's impossible to put it back together. So I don't know, maybe you have to be high as a kite like Elon to think, well, fuck it. If NASA can't put the technology together, I'll just drive to fucking Mars in my Tesla car. because what the fuck? Because what the fuck? So where was it? Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. What else? To understand how bad you get ripped off, like to understand how bad it is. I showed that guy last week, the Egyptian dude, saying that the Egyptian pound dropped 150%, or the way he did the math, if you had 100,000 Egyptian pounds or $100,000 in Egyptian pounds on Friday and Saturday morning when you woke up, you only had 25 grand. Let's take a quick hop across the Atlantic, have 3/4 of the way down the Mediterranean, make a sharp right, and we'll be back in Egypt. Got an interesting observation from a New York bro.
I'm at a Starbucks, an honest-to-God Starbucks here in Alexandria, Egypt, for a little price check. Beautiful, lovely store. Let's see what's going on here.
We got some seasonal merchandise, we got some goodies in here. Now let's get into the important stuff.
Double espressos, 45 Egyptian pounds, that's less than $1, that's 90 cents. A grande cafe latte, 65 pounds, that's $1.33 for a latte. Cappuccino, also $1.33, and a white cafe mocha, 75 pounds for a grande, that's $1.50. I don't even want to talk to you about the baked goods. Chocolate donuts that are less than $1. Croissant, 90 cents. Chocolate cake, carrot, and walnut cake, like $1.40.
And look, I know the United States and Egypt, very different economies, vastly different GDP. I get it. But if they can sell a Starbucks latte here for $1, I got to pay $9 at LaGuardia. That's normal.
So listen, I hate Starbucks. I think it's shit coffee. They were in a lot of the private jet lounges for a while, but they've been kicked out. Their machines, that is to say. They used to have Starbucks machines. They got rid of those, and they now have the Lavazza ones. That's the Italian coffee company. Has a similar machine and way better coffee. But think that through. You have a Starbucks franchise selling Starbucks coffee overseas that they have to ship to Egypt. They have to ship it to Egypt, and you can get a coffee for $1 or $1.50, whatever. The $9 coffee you get in the U.S. is $1 overseas, or in certain environments. And yes, nobody in Egypt has $1 for a cup of coffee. I get it, but you need to understand how badly you're being ripped off, how wildly disproportionate all this stuff is, and it's hard to understand, and it's hard to comprehend, because we live in a fucking wildly distorted fucking funhouse mirror world, and most of the bad things that happen are funded by central bank, and almost all of that, if not all of that, will fucking stop when central banking is ended. Guy, this is another one of my favorite guys of all time. A guy even more visionary than Saint Michael, the one and only Jeff Booth, trying to explain to people how big of a deal Bitcoin is.
So what's different here is the $900 trillion of global wealth. Imagine you have a percentage of that ledger, right? And you could say, like, if Mark Moss has $1 million, you could just calculate exactly what percent you have of that ledger. If that ledger is 1.5 quadrillion tomorrow, because there's a whole bunch more manipulation of money, and your part of that ledger doesn't go up by that amount, you lost money, but you didn't know you lost money.
Sure.
That's what you're living in. And that's what everyone is pricing theirs in. And when they naturally say, what is Bitcoin price in this ledger? They're making that calculation error. When I say it's saying decentralized and secure on the base ledger, then it is inevitable. If it stays decentralized and secure, it reprices everything in the 900 trillion. So you could say, how much of a percentage of 21 million do I have for all of time? And and compare and contrast how much do you need for your lifestyle. If you can hold it decentralized and secure, it will reprice everything else.
So Booth making the point that Bitcoin reprices everything else. 30-cent Bitcoin right now, if you had that $3.48 worth of Bitcoin right now, you'd be more than halfway to $1 million. $3, and $3.50 in 2010 dollars. And because something like that is, one, we know that to be true, right? But secondarily, it's so fucking mind bending. Too many people, they just can't wrap their head around. And that's why understanding that central banking is the evil of our time that we have to peacefully and legally destroy, not like whatever Whitney Webb is talking about, but peacefully and legally destroy central banking by stop participating in their system as much as you can. Step away from it a little bit every day or every week or every month. You'll move closer and closer to freedom, and you will defeat the philosophy of cancer, because they need more and more and more, and they're going to suck more and more and more out of a smaller and smaller base, and they're going to have to expend more resources to keep the blacks from killing the Venezuelans, and then cover the whole thing up, and then rent out the commercial office building as residential real estate, because nobody wants to do business there anymore. Like all of that, like all of these nightmare problems are coming, but you can sidestep most, if not all of it, if you just stop participating. If you focus your efforts on freeing yourself from this fucking insane lunatic asylum that they've created for us. So I'm not suggesting you snort some ketamine and drive to Mars. I don't think that's a particularly good idea, but but I do suggest you take some of your time and energy and turn it into Bitcoin, and then hold that Bitcoin yourself. If not for yourself, then for your children or for your grandchildren, because even if you're going to croak in the next 15 years, 30 cents to 66K, 66K to what? I don't know. The White House says 6 million. Oy vey, 6 million, boy. Could the White House be correct? I don't know. They could be. But you will have to see. We will have to see. With that, I have used up, I think I've used up everything, right? There's nothing. I hit everything. But the one thing I didn't hit? I didn't hit the like button. That's your job. You guys out there, you need to smash up the like button. I'm watching my viewership go up and down. I guess I'm getting stream sniped again. Whatever. Smash up the like button. Why? Because I like the feedback. But that is pretty much where we are at tonight on March 18th of 2024. So Federico Vasconcelos and Eagle Pack Siegel. Thanks for stopping by. I like the video. Which video did you like, Eagle Packs? The Elon video. The Elon let's drive to Mars video. I love that guy. That's Elon, the gift that keeps on giving. Anyway, guys, thanks for stopping by. Everyone that's going to stop by in the coming week, make sure to smash up the like button, and I will see you again next week.